Business report on the Afia Business Morning. I'm Nnamdi Obanya. The media space in the East may have had its bump, fits and starts, and may have taken off much slower than its counterparts in the Southwest, but it is growing. And it's reaching a wide audience with competent, viable purchasing power. So the question is, why do brands that exploit these markets prefer to use external media to reach people in the region? And why do Eastern media houses have to go to Lagos for marketing, even when the brands are domiciled in the East? To help us answer these questions is Dr. Sammy Adrian Ajufo. He's the Dean of School of Communications and Media Studies, Learn to Live Business School, UK. He's a seasoned media administrator and also a brand strategist. Good morning, Dr. Ajufo.
Thank you for having me again after a while. It's nice to be here.
So let me not beat around the bush. Let me go straight to the point. What is the reason why we have little to no decision makers of the brands that need to advertise on Eastern media houses here? Because media houses live and die by sponsorships and advertisements. So why does it seem as if the system is set up against the media industry in the region?
Well, it's not just in the region, it's everywhere in Nigeria. Lagos has become the centralized commercial capital of Nigeria, and other regions have subconsciously allowed Lagos to have that leeway, even if it's in the south, southeast, north central. Even in Abuja, decisions that need to be made as regards media buying is made in Lagos. So there has been no time that, even as strong as those regions are, they've been able to create their own industry. So the major decision makers are in Lagos, because most of these companies who are sponsoring are headquarters in Lagos. They are domiciled in Lagos. And therefore, because their headquarters are in Lagos, it of course makes sense that the decisions should be made in Lagos. They have not decentralized decision making. And you would also look at it with the power of the industries in the southeast. In the south-south, you can call Port Harcourt the capital of the south-south. In the southeast, you can call Enugu, which used to be the capital of both southeast and south-south. Yeah. Now, in those regions, they haven't built their own capacity, their own industry, their own ecosystem. All we are building is industries that can, for low-income earners, we are not playing the big game. If you want to play the big game, then you have to start creating that industry within the East, so much so that whatever decision is made in Lagos, there is also someone in the East that can also say, he can make a counter decision because of what exists at the moment. If you look at the radio industry now, somebody counted 83 radio stations in Lagos, which I don't think is true. It's much higher than that. If you look at Ogun State or your state, they also have radio stations, and it's like every time you blink your eye, they're always open. Yeah. But if you count the entire southeastern region, we have only one cable TV, pay-per-view TV, that's Afia TV. Nobody else has taken the bull by the horn. After what happened to Minaj left, nobody else thinks that within the region, let's have a variety. But in Lagos, you're having more TV stations, even moving into Ogun State. You're having more TV stations crop up. In Oyo State, there are more radio stations. But then in the East, aside, if Afia wasn't in existence, that means there will be no TV station, no visual representation of the Southeast. So for that reason, they have the power to decide that, look, we are making money in your region, but we make the decisions. If within the region, and when we say community and ecosystem, you need media agencies, you need advertising agencies, exactly. You need, brokers. We don't even have any of them in the East. Nobody is saying, okay, even for the local market, let's create this system. So there is no advertising agency in the Southeast. Not because nobody can open it, but because the East itself and other regions do not think themselves economically capable to have that kind of system. Because in Lagos, it has everything. In fact, in the same building, you have an agency, you have a broker, you have so everybody, they are keeping that ecosystem tight. If the East decides, okay, we don't have these things that Lagos has, we don't have those major decision players, but we do have industries. We have industry players in the East. Do they think that the Eastern media is good enough to also patronize? They don't. I've been on this same channel where we discussed about why brands are not supporting events in the East. Yeah. And someone came out and said that the East is not ready. The person is resident in the East. The brand is from the East. So what the person said was that the best one is in Port Harcourt. I was looking at the person. Because you see, it's that mind shift that we need. Because we don't appreciate home. If you do appreciate home, you put more investment here. What's the point behind, okay, look at the fact that in the South, there's a time the Akwa Ibom State government was complaining to Mobile that you're drilling oil in Eket in Akwa Ibom State. You've been there for donkey years. Of course, you built Eket. But why is your headquarters in Lagos? And there was this back and forth with former Governor Udom Emmanuel, and then Umoino came and said, look, take this building, put your headquarters here, even if it's a corporate headquarters. Before that decision could have been made, Seplat now bought Mobile. So, you see, if the governors themselves believe that you're making money from here, it should be here. Yeah. So if the governors are not even creating that enabling environment, are not seeing the media industry as just come and publicize what we are saying, just come for press conference, you know, what does it take for a governor or governors to say, look, whatever you're doing here, MTN, we need part of your adverts here. We need you to patronize this market. Because the more the media thrives in your state, the more publicity, the more promotion that your state gets. If you look at the model CNN is running, CNN is not running everything from the US. They also have other...
Even within the US, if you ask the average person where CNN's headquarters is, they'll tell you New York. Meanwhile, it's Atlanta.
It's Atlanta.
But there are major programs even in the US come from New York.
So you have to decentralize this thing, but everything is choked in Lagos, and you won't blame Lagos. We grew up there. They have built capacity, and they consistently maintain this. Now, we are running late in the game. But it's not too late to start something. And even social media, those guys they call influencers, skit makers, a real estate company in Lagos would just hire his skit makers and ambassador, pay them whatever they pay them. The same industry, real estate in the Southeast, will also look at a skit maker in Enugu and say, no, they will pick a skit maker from Lagos
to come and do it
here. So why? Because the East and the other regions need to appreciate their own homegrown talent. The fact that everybody say, let's look at the numbers. There is numbers. The numbers exist.
You know, I was going to ask you that because you talked of the mind shift, which stuck with me, when someone says Port Harcourt is better. And I was going to ask you a question. Is there, if you are a brand, a mass market brand, maybe alcoholic beverage or anything, is there any event in Port Harcourt in the last 5 to 10 years that has been bigger than either last year's Roadblock or last year and 2 years ago Jerry concerts?
That's what I'm saying. They don't look at all in Enugu. They don't look at the reality. They are so used to. We are so used. Let me say we are so used to our own. We have already conditioned our minds. I know Nnamdi. I know where he lives now. Nnamdi, I beg, let's go and bring somebody from outside. So what do our guys do? Our guys will go to Lagos and succeed, and then we bring them in as expatriates. So that brain drain, that talent movement is what is bedeviling us right here. So you look at it and say, okay, we'll put, let's budget for this, our product, let's put in 140 million, let's put 70 million here, put 20 million in Abuja for all that, for the sake of politics, and the South is just a few people, just gather them. Because we are tuned to Lagos content. That's what they think. But people are developing content here. They are doing great content. Now in the same Lagos, have you noticed that even in Nollywood, the industry is moving down deeper into the Southwest? We are having Kule, KKP, all of them for Lion. They are moving their productions that way. So they are now, Lagos is now going to be just the financial capital, not the content capital. Because it is easier for someone to just go, and you go out, take your camera, somebody, one Agbero will stop you somewhere. They are being inhibited. So they are doing most of their contents within their compounds. The content that is created here, the music that is created here, the movies that are created here, it will take the mind shift of both public sector and private sector to come together and say, what can we do to build the creative capital here? What do we used to do to help the media here to get promoted? Because let's be honest in front of everybody, if this channel moved to Lagos, there will be more patronage.
Of course.
But if we are,
I would not like that we've not been advised to do that.
Yes,
but the chairman
times,
has refused.
Many times. It doesn't need to be told. Even people from the southeast will tell you move.
It was in the southeast that
yes,
they said
they'll tell you move to Lagos.
Why not in Lagos?
Because I remember working in a radio station in Anambra, and the owner took the radio station to his village. And I asked him, why do you move it to your village? Why not Oka? He said, why not? That was a wrong perception. Because the consumption of your content is not in your village. The villagers don't even know there's a channel. Move your, I'm not saying move it to Lagos, move it to Onitsha, move it to Oka. Those are the economic and political capitals. Now, if somebody, it is the Southeastern, I'll say move it to Lagos. They don't appreciate, so what is South is used for? It's used for coming back for burials, used for come and flaunt wealth. But in terms of economics, it's not working. So no matter what the governors are trying to do, the people don't have the mindset that this is where money is made. The people have the mindset that that is where money is made. This is where money is flaunted. So how does it help the Southeast? Even if you're flaunting the money, you will still go to Tunde North now. You will still go to other people outside. And we will be reading something that we knew that just happened in our backyard from another source. But when another person comes from the East and says, let's build, people would frustrate him here.
Yeah.
So the mindset is the problem. The mind shift is necessary. So Lagos has, you can't take it away from Lagos. Bomb the whole of Lagos, they will still put it as the economic capital. You do not know where agency offices, before they used to be on the mainland, they are moving everywhere. Anybody can become an agency. But what of the businesses that are trying to thrive here? What of those who are leaving Lagos and say it is too concentrated? Yes, let's move here. They are moving in silently, but they are not patronizing the media here because they don't see us making noise. They don't see us being promoted. They don't see us being taken, given some level of respect.
Is there something the media itself is doing wrong? Have we maybe not been professional? Have we not grown? Are there too many brown envelope journalists? Like, is there, because I think that before we start, complaining, maybe we should use our own tongue and counter it. Is there something we are doing? We know there are a lot of external problems. Is there anything the industry itself is doing that is causing its own problems?
Yes, of course. The industry itself does not benchmark itself with great standard. If you want to look at a media house starting up, the foundation of that media house is as important as what is being built on it. Every construction person will tell you the foundation matters. Every other thing is aesthetics. We have not done well in terms of branding ourselves, sustainability. We have not branded ourselves properly as, we are no more playing a regional market, we're playing a global market. Many of us don't understand it. The quality of people we hire, who are the owners, who are receiving licenses. In the Lagos, you're trying to compare yourself. In the Port Harcourt, you're comparing. In Abuja, you're comparing yourself. They are benchmarking themselves against them. But who is the most successful? Why are they successful? What do they need to do? Let's go and either poach them or copy their template and do better. But now it is here where we don't even have a sustainability plan because there is no benchmark, there's no peer review. We're not sitting and looking at our businesses and saying, are we doing well? Are we doing well in terms of content? Are we doing well in terms of human resources? How many people watch our channel? What do we need to do better? How do we fix our internal dynamics? None of those. So we can be complaining about Lagos. There's nothing that will change. But if we are not the beautiful bride, it's because we have not made ourselves beautiful. We are not reaching out to the main things. I look at media brands, I look at media houses, and I say, what is my concern with Tinubu? What will happen to the local stories that affects me here? If I keep talking about the local stuff here, guess what happens? The people in diaspora and our brothers in diaspora are the highest spenders. They'll patronize us more.
To be fair to our brothers in diaspora, when it comes to online content, they are probably the largest consumers of local content.
Yes.
But let's now take it one step deeper because you've worked in the media industry in region. I was talking to Aaron Leonard the other day, and I was talking about capacity in the region. Even where there's talent, there's no professionalism. And it doesn't seem to be a training school thing. It seems to be almost cultural in the region. Where is there an entitlement matrix where the confidence far outstrips the competence? So is there maybe deeper reasons than what we see that maybe people don't respect Eastern brands because maybe they are, it's the little details. Maybe those are the things they don't see.
Yes, because everything you've said is actually right. We do not promote competence. We do not celebrate competence. We open up to every kind of thing. We take our culture and do not promote it in the right way. If you look at the culture and look at the competence of somebody, if I don't have a competent person from the East to handle my production, I can get somebody from the Southwest that will mentor people from the Southeast. Will the Southeast people put their head down and learn and play the long game? No. They will remember that the owner is their brother. Why is this guy coming here? You're not trying to pick what is important to move forward. And then there's no succession planning. If you are going to run a professional media establishment, number one, as the owner, hand it over to professionals. Ensure that the professionals are working according to the book that was written by yourself and the professionals. Let it go. But when we have those internal strife, this person is from Suka, this person from Ebonyi, this person from Enugu, Imo, you start looking at them. At the end of the day, what is the end result? We don't look at that. So we celebrate incompetence. And then the right people who should do the job are being put down, because now you're looking at people who are intelligent, people are brilliant, they know what to do, they have had experience, but their experience intimidates you. So what you do is you fight against them. And you try to keep it that this is our own. It doesn't work like that. There's no this is our own in the business. It is all the media houses coming out to say the East is our own, we'll promote it. You're not locking down anything in the East in your business that is going to help you. You open it up. So what is the capacity of this person? Has this person developed himself? He has not. Can you move for someone who has developed himself? There's no sentiment. Because how do businesses in those states we are envying thrive? You'll see people working in a particular business for years. They have left, but they can still walk back into the organization. No one chases them away.
Of course.
But here in the East, once you are sacked, get out. I don't want to see you. Tell a policeman, tell a security man, I don't want to see you at the gate. What sentiment is that?
I'm going to ask, could it be that there's a lot of sentiment in how we do things here? Maybe, like you said, professionalism, maybe it's intimidating.
Yes.
And I guess there's also, maybe like you also mentioned, not just women now, but the familiarity thing of people are more comfortable with what is familiar.
Yes.
And I mean, like you, I can relate, because coming from Lagos, I was a bit confused.
Yes.
I was coming from an environment where somebody will hate you.
Yeah. But still would work with you.
But if they ask that person about you, they will say beautiful things about you, because their relationship with you when it comes to work is perfect.
Professional, yes.
On the personal level, we see ex-boyfriends and girlfriends that's on the job, they're power teams.
Yes.
But outside they hate each other. But it seems that maybe here is a bit more communal.
That's why I say the communal thing, we haven't used it to its best potential. If we want to say communal, then our culture should actually be our selling point. Our culture should not be a thing of strife. Because at the end of the day, what is the goal of that media organization? Many media owners don't have a goal. Somebody just told them it is nice to own a media house.
Some for political reasons.
For political reasons. Oh, you're running for governor. Okay, you need a radio station. And they'll bring one human being that will come and mess the whole thing up. Because it also starts from the scratch. Whoever starts the radio station for you, if the person lays a wrong foundation, whether it's a radio or TV station, it will go. There's no way somebody in the future will come and try and build it. The person has to go and excavate everything. And yes, so at the forefront is, what is the goal of the establishment? Are we here to become the #1 news channel for the region? Are we supposed to be a voice of reason? Are we supposed to be? So if you ask most media owners, they can't tell you. So the managers can't tell you. The staff cannot tell you, because they don't even know why they are there. If you look at these channels that are popular now, you look at channels, look at Arise, look at Afia, we can tell you what we're about. How many other businesses can tell you this is what we are? I remember, I always say it everywhere, a media owner I work for said he's setting it up to make money. Till today, that person has not made anything, because you can't set up a media establishment with the goal of making money. Money is one of the byproducts that come.
From doing it well.
So when you have that, and then Another person opens another media channel and says, nobody is doing this within this region. This is where we are going to focus on. This is where we are lasering. When everybody starts coming in and taking their place, taking their own niche, you will find out that the industry becomes very vibrant, because it will come to a point where I can't compete with you. We're not doing the same thing, but I can complement you. Can we partner on this particular matter? Because our needs meet. But when we look at it as a war, don't talk to this person, don't talk to this person, and then we're all trying to demarket each other, doesn't make sense. So when we fight and say, Lagos, why is everyone? They are not seeing a coordinated industry.
Yeah.
They are not seeing anything.
Even I mean, you just said, even the cutthroat industry, what happens in Lagos is that you have other brands that handle this synergy.
Exactly.
So if the radio stations are not talking to each other, no problem.
There's somebody that's connecting us.
When they are having the AMVCA, they will coordinate everybody as one team.
Yes.
And everybody will work together.
Yes.
Everybody will work and share resources.
Yes.
And it will happen.
Wait, I think we need to break them very many barriers. And our barriers are fundamentally our problem. Because there's really no industry. I tell people, I said, why Lagos is Lagos is because there are very many industries that check each other. You have an industry that is full of critics. You have an industry that's into content. You have an industry that's into regulation. You have an industry that's into marketing. You have an industry that's into sales. You have an industry that's into events. So everybody comes together and say, okay, the events people say, let's talk to the guys who give awards and those guys who are critics. Who are the best media people? Who will all come together. Then everybody finds their niche, they connect. That is what sponsors are looking for. That they can connect 6 or 7 different industries and they will have the market, because they are connecting each of our markets, each of our audiences. But if you have only media establishments here, you don't have critics, you don't have awards, you don't have events, you don't have platforms. Even if you look at it in the US, there are organizations that are just into top 10 chart shows. Yeah. They don't do any other thing. Yeah. So if you look at other countries, some are cultural, this is politics, this is jazz. Can you sit in our system and say, this station is basically this? In Lagos, there's a station, I don't want to mention it, that's mostly into old school. Yeah, you have one who is into jazz. Mellow. So if we have an industry, a bigger industry in the East, and we have not defined our different parts yet, it's a problem. What will the advertisers come and put their money on? What Afia is doing, this other station is doing this. What do you do by 9 o'clock? Politics. What does it do by 9 o'clock? Politics. What does it do by 9 o'clock? Politics. What do you do by 7 o'clock? I do sports. What is 7? There is nothing that makes us say, let's cash into this. Okay, there's a radio station or TV station that just does outdoor broadcasts. I saw Afia Radio doing it, going to Ogbete the market. Yeah. Innovation. You have just been here for how many years? Other radio stations have been in this town since. And you have to think outside the box, so that if you can't capture a Lagos market, you can capture those emerging markets in the East, those small businesses that are looking for. Because why do I need to patronize you when all you do is broadcast to a terrestrial audience? I'm looking for an online audience. Have you thought about changing your media policy and saying, let's do 60% terrestrial audience, 40% digital audience? Because the digital audience is what is paying. So you don't need to be asking for. Advertisers don't even have enough budget for the entire Nigeria. Yeah. How many media houses, now how many advertisers will tell you, we have Coca-Cola gave us 200 million or 500 million for this particular product. Let's see how to distribute that thing. They will look at the media houses, look at their strengths, look at the data. Do we have data on this side? Do we keep data? And they will look at it and say, half that 500 million, 250 million goes into digital marketing. The media house itself, does it have a digital marketing organ that can say, in the Southeast, we have the data, we control about 20 million people. If you look at analytics, do we do that? No, you're waiting for the 60-second jingle to come in. And then you're waiting for Lagos. Lagos is looking for the influencers, those ones that will say something. And yes.
This thing you've mentioned, we have to round up, but I have to round up with this question, because I was making a complaint the other day. I was talking to somebody in the bank. I said, you guys do a lot of your business in this region. You position yourself as an Eastern bank. Why is it that regional offices cannot take decisions on, Southeast branding? And they're like, I said, but why? There's a lot of money spending. People, you say, where's the data? I said, but you're the bank. He said, well, that there are regulations. They cannot use people's banking information for third-party activity. That there are regulations. So nobody should be asking banks for data.
But that's not what everybody's selling.
I know. That's the truth, because I have tried some research. And trust me, there are two things that are very difficult in life. One is convincing a politician not to collect money from the treasury. The second is to tell an Igbo man to tell you how much he's worth. You will not.
You should make that into a quote.
You will not get it out of him.
Yes. I think that is also a big problem. We don't have the data. Everybody presents data. Everybody presents data. And that is what is thriving in these Lagos we're talking about. And that same thing is moving across the southwest. But it's ending at Edo State. They are even receiving a little bit of it, because the windfall coming from the South Lagos. But if you don't know the data of people that listen to you, data of people that cumulatively, all of us, what is our value in terms of data? This your media house, how many people listen to you? What is your engagement? So that if you're coming as a common front to accuse an institution, you tell them, they say, we did not know. People are building more in those areas because there's data. They are rushing in for data. You don't even also need to be convincing Lagos marketers, advertisers. Send this straight to Facebook. Send this straight to other international agencies. This is what we have here. And then we do not put out content about the Southeast. We put out content about our millionaires. Oh, Big Kubana bought a new Jeep. Is that what we are selling? I always follow on Facebook people who take drone shots of Enugu. I know Enugu, but it's something else. We never used to be known. We have at least moved away from that perception that in Enugu we don't have airports. In Enugu we don't have this. That was a bad impression, and that impression stuck. Another person came out and said insecurity in the Southeast, and Afia TV is in Enugu. Are you sure they are not under a bunker? That there's the bombs flying overhead? We do not put out more content about the region. We put out more content about the people. People are not buying people. People are buying what is the market visibility of this region. If you come to Ngo, there's this. If you come to this part in Anambra, there's this. If you come to, we keep talking about, and our brothers will be so happy to say, yes, talk more about our people, because they too need bragging rights abroad. But when we do not put out content, we talk about individuals rather than the region, rather than the possibilities. Where do we? Okay, Peter Mbao recently was saying we should now have states should have control over their mineral resources, which the North has always been doing. But has Enugu State said we have done a seismic search? This is what we have in Enugu. Come and invest here, come and invest here, come and invest here. The person who wants to invest will most likely go to the federal government and say, I want to invest there.
Because the Enugu cannot even call the investor.
You can't call the investor. So if you do not have this data and you do not focus on building the content, there are many industries in the Southeast that you can talk about. But we don't do it. We're talking about individuals. We're talking about politics and all that. Who needs all that information? And the problem is we are celebrating stuff that make us look as if we don't need money. We are celebrating too many things that make it look as if, no, we are okay, no, keep your money in Lagos, we don't need it. Why would they put adverts in your place? Why have you talked about, and those in Lagos are so brilliant that somebody went and created an Igbo station in Lagos. And therefore he has cut that market off. There's no, why do you need to go to East? We already have one here. We just use the resources there. Has any media house here thought, let's get a channel in Lagos? Let's all the few media houses in the Southeast decide to get a station that is just going to be sending content. We are just sending content. So whatever profit that station makes, it comes to the rest of us. We will send our resources, human resources, we'll make sure the place is thriving, but the station is just a funnel to help the East.
And a platform to advertise.
But we don't think, so we think that communal thing we are thinking is our biggest disadvantage.
If we sit down here, I know we'll be here till 2 p.m. because there's so much more. We still haven't talked about the fact that a lot of people blame tribalism, and I'm going to bring that up. It won't be today, but I want to play your mind. A lot of people blame tribalism for it, and I think people who say that have never been to the agencies in Lagos.
No.
Then they'll realize that
most of those people, it's our people that run the agencies. It's our people that will tell you, oh boy, you know they. And you to shock you, just call any of the agencies. The person who will respond to you is from here.
And it's up the value chain from bottom up.
Exactly.
Media planners, media buyers.
So what would you say?
So,
and they are comfortable there. Nobody is saying that if they send the money to you that they'll lose their job. No. It's nothing about tribalism.
Yeah.
It's about money.
Yeah.
Where can I make this money? Nigerian breweries, is the headquarters not in Igomu?
Yeah.
But everything here, let's look at the data of how much we consume here. So it's not about that. It's also, it's an implosion. We are the ones destroying ourselves. It's not. I don't ever think of tribalism in those matters.
And I think that's where we'll put we'll hang the anchor for today, because we're going to pull it up from here and continue this discussion, talking about, of course, cultural, will I say, hindrances to everything we do. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, Dr. Sammy is the dean, or he's the dean of communications.
School of Communications.
School of Communications.
And Media Studies,
at Learn to Live Business School, UK. Yes, most of you don't know that Nnamdi Obanya himself
he's a faculty member.
He's a lecturer. And it's something we'll bring up in our next discussion, which is how much industry-specified training
do we need?
The guest before that was talking about the National Power Institute's curriculum, and he mentioned it's all technical. Where are the people doing power law? Where are the people who understand the economy of buying and selling of the electricity and what the economy needs,
that value chain is
how to deploy. That they're just training technicians, and these are the things. How much training?
And then it opens up for more jobs,
which is another industry on its own. Most people don't know. They see Ogun's IGR, and they think a lot of it comes from the fact that Lagos is spilling into Ogun. It's there, but most people don't know that Ogun State has the most private universities in Nigeria.
And the strongest. Yes.
The strongest ones.
Yes.
So.
But there'll
be more time for this, but that's all we can take on this business report. Of course, if you're not on Dule Market Pekin is ready to take you into the market for our market. We'll be back on Monday morning on DSTV channel 25417 on GoTV and of course 748 on Free TV, 10 a.m. for another edition of the Afia Business Morning. Till then, after your week of profitability, please try to get some rest this weekend.